Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India NewsHour, India's voice to the world. I'm Amritpal Singh. Coming up in the next 1 hour, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates two major national highway projects in Delhi, highlights efforts to make Delhi a model of growth. Election Commission of India asserts commitment to free and fair polls, rubbishes charge of fraud in special intensive revision in electoral rolls in Bihar, calls it a misinformation campaign. The National Democratic Alliance announces Maharashtra Governor CP Radhakrishnan as its candidate for Vice President elections. European leaders to accompany Zelenskyy to the White House say Ukraine's borders must not be changed by force. Our top story at this hour, the National Democratic Alliance or the NDA on Sunday named Maharashtra Governor CP Radhakrishnan as its candidate for the post of Vice President of India. This comes weeks after Jagdeep Dhankar stepped down. The election is slated for 9th of September. BJP President JP Nadda announced Radhakrishnan's candidature at a press conference in New Delhi.
हमारे उपराष्ट्रपति के प्रत्याशी के रूप में हमारे महाराष्ट्र के राज्यपाल श्री सीपी राधाकृष्णन जी, चंद्रपुरम पुन्नासामी राधाकृष्णन जी, उनको हम एनडीए का प्रत्याशी बनाएंगे.
The decision was announced after BJP Parliamentary Board met earlier in the day to finalize the name with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah and other senior BJP leaders in attendance. Prime Minister Narendra Modi praised NDA candidate for vice presidential elections CP Radhakrishnan for his extensive work at the grassroots, sharing a photo of him on social media platform X. The Prime Minister wrote, and I quote, "In his long years in public life, Thiru CP Radhakrishnan ji has distinguished himself with his dedication, humility and intellect. During various positions he's held, he has always focused on community service and empowering the marginalized. He has done extensive work at the grassroots in Tamil Nadu. I am glad that the NDA family has decided to nominate him as the vice presidential candidate of our alliance." Unquote. And my colleague Shama Mishra joins us from Mumbai about the announcement by the NDA of its vice presidential candidate. Hi Shama, good to see you. The CP Radhakrishnan is currently the governor of Maharashtra. Give us a sense of the man's achievements and his political career.
Well, good evening, Amrit. Now we are talking about Maharashtra's governor, CP Radhakrishnan, and he has been a veteran politician. He did start his career from Tamil Nadu, and he was born in 1957, and from then he started young as a Swayamsevak of RSS, and then later he went on to become a member of the Bharatiya Jana Sangh in 1970s. Now, coming to Maharashtra governor, he took oath as Maharashtra's governor in July last year, that is 2024, and it's just been 1.5 years, not even 1.5 years, where the candidature of CP Radhakrishnan has been announced for vice president. So you can understand that what all stature would this man be carrying. Also, now we are talking about that he has been a governor of Maharashtra. Prior to governor of Maharashtra, he has been governor of Jharkhand. Prior to that, he has also been a governor Lieutenant General to Puducherry. And when he was the governor of Jharkhand, we are understanding we were told that he made it a point that he visited all the 24 districts in his first year of the tenure. So he is definitely rooted and definitely connected to the people, and he likes to address people's problem. Even when he was in Tamil Nadu, he took the politics on his shoulder, and there was a big march, there was a big Rath Yatra rather. It was a 19,000 kilometer Rath Yatra, and it was a 93-day long Rath Yatra where the governor, where not then governor, but CP Radhakrishnan had made it a point to highlight important issues, burning issues, like the linking of rivers, also the anti-drug measures, eradication of poverty, eradication of untouchability, and so on and so forth. Even in Maharashtra, when he took oath as the governor, he made it a point that he met as many as public representatives, he met the business leaders, different sections of the society to understand what really are the issues, and he made it a point that he will address it in his capacity. So overall, the man has traveled a lot of countries in Asia and Europe, and in state or in the country, he has traveled a lot of districts to understand what really are the burning issues and how to address them. So if elected, we will definitely have a vice president who is connected to the roots and connected to the ground and will understand the people's problem even better.
True. So clearly, I mean, the Prime Minister himself has, spoke about him, said in his tweet, said that he's focused on community service and empowering the marginalized, Shama. But of all the people who were in the race, what, in your assessment, would have led for the BJP to make a decision on Radhakrishnan as the VP candidate?
Well, I understand that CP Radhakrishnan has already been governor. He has already been appointed as governor from various states, and he has understood what are the problems. And so
you're saying the experience that he brings? The experience,
rather. Yes, the experience that he brings, and also the understanding of the problems from the very ground level to the top most level of the state. He has that understanding, and because he has been a veteran leader, he has been a veteran politician, he has that kind of, he has a way to deal with things and to, find out solutions. As Prime Minister has also mentioned that, CP Radhakrishnan, he has that understanding, he has that connect with people. So when he becomes the vice president, and as the series are going, as the tradition really goes, the vice president connects with people, and one of the major tasks of a vice president is to obviously bring out India's traditional cultural aspect to the world. And as I've mentioned that CP Radhakrishnan has already visited a lot of countries in Asia and Europe. No better man to present India on a larger scale.
Okay, we leave it there, Shama. Thank you very much for joining us for the moment. And in a crucial presser on Sunday, the Election Commission of India issued strong remarks against those casting allegations against the constitutional body and extended its support to the voters of the nation. The Chief Election Commissioner categorically rejected the accusations of vote theft. DD India's Siddharth Bharadwaj reports.
The Election Commission of India asserted commitment to free and fair polls. The Election Commission reaffirmed its fearless support to voters of all sections and all religions, including the poor, rich, elderly, women, and youth, without any discrimination. Addressing a press conference on Sunday, Chief Election Commissioner Gyanesh Kumar highlighted the importance of voting and voter registration for eligible citizens.
मतदाताओं के नाम एक संदेश देना चाहता है। भारत के संविधान के अनुरूप भारत का हर नागरिक जो 18 वर्ष की आयु पूरी कर चुका हो, उसे मतदाता अवश्य बनना चाहिए और मतदान भी अवश्य करना चाहिए।
Chief Election Commissioner said that for the last 2 decades, all political parties have been demanding corrections in the electoral rolls. And to address this, ECI has begun the special intensive revision of voter rolls.
पिछले 2 दशकों से लगभग सभी राजनीतिक दल मतदाता सूची में त्रुटियों के सुधार के लिए मांग करते रहे हैं और इसी मांग को पूरा करने के लिए ही चुनाव आयोग ने गहन पुनरीक्षण अर्थात स्पेशल इंटेंसिव रिवीजन SIR की शुरुआत बिहार से की है। SIR की प्रक्रिया में सभी मतदाता, बूथ लेवल ऑफिसर्स और सभी राजनीतिक दलों द्वारा नामित 1.6 लाख BLAs ने मिलकर एक प्रारूप सूची तैयार की है।
The Election Commission also put out a bold statement against those who are continuously leveling allegations against the constitutional body.
दुनिया का सबसे बड़ी मतदाता सूची हमारे पास है, लगभग 90 करोड़ से 100 करोड़ के बीच में। सबसे बड़ी मतदाता सूची, सबसे बड़े चुनाव कर्मियों की फौज, सबसे ज्यादा मतदान करने वाले लोगों की संख्या, और इन सब के समक्ष, सारे मीडिया के समक्ष ये कहना कि अगर मतदाता सूची में आपका नाम एक बार और है तो आपने 2 बार मतदान किया होगा और कानूनी अपराध किया होगा, और मेरे सारे मतदाताओं को अपराधी बनाना और चुनाव आयोग शांत रहे, संभव नहीं। हलफनामा देना होगा या देश से माफी मांगनी होगी, तीसरा विकल्प नहीं है। आपके माध्यम से मैं ये भी कहना चाहता हूं, अगर 7 दिन में हलफनामा नहीं मिला तो इसका अर्थ ये सारे आरोप निराधार हैं।
Reiterating its neutrality, the Election Commission said it cannot remain silent when voters are insulted for political gain. Siddharth Bharadwaj report for DT India.
And my colleague Siddharth Bharadwaj joins us for more on the story from the newsroom. Siddharth, the SIR in Bihar has been a politically contentious issue with opposition leaders like especially Rahul Gandhi, talking about how there are gaping loopholes in this whole revision of lists, and it's done to favor a particular political party. What was the Election Commission's response to it? Because we heard in your story the Chief Election Commissioner give a very passionate response, but what was their defense really, or answer to the allegations against them?
Amrit, first thing which I want to tell you is that the special intensive revision is not something which is happening for the first time. We have to understand that it has happened in the past as well. In case of Bihar in 2003, and now it's happening. It is the long-standing demand of the political parties themselves, and that is the reason why this special intensive revision is happening. And Bihar is the first state where it is happening, and slowly and gradually it will happen. It will happen across India as well. And today, in the much important press conference, the Election Commissioner of India, Gyanesh Kumar, has hit out, in fact, on those political parties, on those people who are questioning the credibility of the Election Commission of India, who are leveling baseless allegations against the Election Commission of India, saying that those people who are leveling allegations against the constitutional body should first come with right facts and figures. The facts and figures which some political parties displayed few days back, Amrit, let me tell you, the Election Commission has clearly stated that those allegations are wrong, those numbers, those figures were wrong, and for doing that, either they have to submit an affidavit or they have to apologize within 7 days. If they don't do that, that means their allegations and everything which they have said is will not be considered. I mean, this is what the Election Commissioner, Chief Election Commissioner, has come out with. He has in fact extended his support to the voters of the country. They have defended the voters of the country, saying that if anyone will question the voters of the country, the Election Commission will not remain quiet. And he also reaffirmed its unwavering commitment for free and fair elections, Amrit. So this is what, so all those political parties, all those leaders you've just mentioned, those who are leveling allegations against the Election Commission, there's this much important press conference. The Election Commission and the Chief Election Commissioner of India has hit out on those, saying that you first come with some facts and figures. When you don't have facts and figures, you don't come and you don't mislead the people of India. Amrit.
The opposition, especially the Congress, had demanded videography of the election process, saying that we've lost faith in the way revision of lists is being done. We think there is something afoot to appropriate the revision of lists. They've asked for videography of booths. What was the CEC's response to that?
Amrit, first we have to understand the fact that you have to see the chronology, and especially when it comes to the opposition. If the results are coming in their favor, they don't have any problem. But if the results are not coming in their favor...
just tell me, what did the CEC say, Siddharth?
The CEC has
on videography.
Okay, regarding the videography, regarding the CCTV footage of polling booths, the CEC said that it will be a breach of privacy if the footage will be released. Mothers are voting, daughters are voting, or sisters of our country are voting. So it's not ethical to release the CCTV footage of the polling booths, which the opposition is demanding since long. This is what the privacy. So to keeping the privacy of the Indian voters intact, the CEC has come out with a statement that absolutely no video footage of the polling booths will be released, because they care about the privacy of the Indian citizens, because it's their right and it cannot be released at any cost, no matter how much the opposition will say.
All right. We leave it there, Siddharth. Thank you very much for joining us and giving us an insight as you were covering that press conference. Thank you. And still to come up on DD India NewsHour, Air Canada Union says flight attendants will continue the strike and defy the Canadian government's order. Bolivians vote in presidential and congressional elections of the country. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Amrit Pal Singh. Connectivity across the National Capital Region will take a leap forward with the inauguration of Delhi section of the Dwara Expressway and Alipur to Dichaung Kalan stretch of the Urban Extension Road Phase 2, along with new links to Bahadurgarh and Sonipat. While inaugurating these projects in Delhi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi stressed that efforts are underway to make Delhi a model of growth that reflects the spirit of a developing India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday stressed that India's national capital Delhi is being transformed into a model of growth that reflects the spirit of a developing India. The two major national highway projects inaugurated in Delhi on Sunday reflect Prime Minister Modi's vision of creating world-class infrastructure that enhances ease of living and ensures seamless mobility.
दुनिया जब भारत को देखती है, परखती है, तो उसकी पहली नजर हमारी राजधानी पर पड़ती है, हमारी दिल्ली पर पड़ती है। इसलिए दिल्ली को हमें विकास का ऐसा मॉडल बनाना है जहां सभी को महसूस हो कि हां, ये विकसित होते भारत की राजधानी है।
The 10.1 kilometer long Delhi section of Dwara Expressway has been developed at a cost of around 5,360 crore Indian rupees. The section will provide multimodal connectivity to Yashobhumi, DMRC Blue Line and Orange Line, upcoming Bijwasan Railway Station and Dwarka Cluster Bus Depot. This section has two parts. Package 1, 5.9 kilometers from Shivmurti intersection to the road under bridge at Dwarka Sector 21. And Package 2, 4.2 kilometers from Dwarka Sector 21 RUB to the Delhi-Haryana border, providing direct connectivity to Urban Extension Road 2. The PM also inaugurated the Alipur to Dichaukala stretch of Urban Extension Road 2, along with new links to Bahadurgarh and Sonipat, built at a cost of around 5,580 crore Indian rupees. This will ease traffic on Delhi's inner and outer ring roads and busy points like Mukarba Chowk, Dhaula Kua and NH9. The new spurs will give direct access to Bahadurgarh and Sonipat. Prime Minister also highlighted the government's initiatives to make Delhi green.
मुझे खुशी है कि रेखा गुप्ता जी के नेतृत्व में दिल्ली की भाजपा सरकार यमुना जी की सफाई में भी लगातार जुटी हुई है। मुझे बताया गया कि यमुना से इतने कम समय में 16 लाख मैट्रिक टन सील्ड हटाई जा चुकी है। इतना ही नहीं, बहुत कम समय में ही दिल्ली में 650 देवी इलेक्ट्रिक बसें शुरू की गई है।
Prime Minister Modi stressed that today's India is defined by its aspirations, dreams and resolutions, elements that the entire world is now experiencing. Bureau Report, DD India.
India space hero Shubhanshu Shukla returned to India in the early hours of Sunday after his historic visit to the International Space Station. Shukla, who splashed down off the coast of California on July 15th after an 18-day stay aboard the ISS, was received at the Delhi airport by a host of ministers, ISRO chief and students. Shukla's backup astronaut Prasar Bharati also returned to the homeland.
India's space glory touches Indian soil. As the proud son of Mother India, astronaut Shubhanshu Shukla landed in Delhi in the early hours of Sunday morning amid applause, pride and patriotism. His return was marked by a tearful reunion with his family and a special distinction for his wife Kamna Shukla, who became the first Indian woman to ever take a call from space. Science and Technology Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh, ISRO Chairman Dr. V. Narayanan and Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta joined in to honour the astronaut whose journey to the International Space Station etched a new milestone in India's space story. Accompanying him was another equally accomplished Group Captain Prasar Bharati, who was India's designated backup for the mission to the International Space Station. Nair was one of the astronauts selected for India's first human mission, Gaganyaan. Notably, the lower house of India's Parliament, or the Lok Sabha, will hold a special discussion on India's space journey and Shukla's historic mission aboard ISS on Monday. The House will debate on India's first astronaut aboard the ISS, the critical role of space program for Viksit Bharat by 2047. Overall, Shukla brings back more than memories. His training at NASA, Axiom and SpaceX facilities, along with his mission experience at the ISS, will power India's next giant leap into space, the Gaganyaan human spaceflight mission set for 2027. Shubhanshu Shukla's return is not just the homecoming of a hero, it's the beginning of India's bold new era in space exploration. With Tapas Bhattacharya, Tanvi Taneja for DD India.
Foreign Secretary of India Vikram Misri arrived in Kathmandu on Sunday morning on a two-day official visit at the invitation of his Nepali counterpart Amrit Bahadur Rai. He paid a courtesy call on the President, the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister of Nepal and held a high-level delegation talks with the high-level delegation on bilateral concerns. Here's more from DD India's special correspondent in Kathmandu, Shweta Singh.
As Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri landed in Kathmandu on Sunday morning, he was received at Tribhuvan International Airport by Nepal's Joint Secretary Gahendra Raj Bhandari. He called upon high-level dignitaries of Nepal, paying a courtesy call on President of Nepal Ramchandra Paudel at Sheetal Nivas. Matters relating to enhancing bilateral cooperation and deepening the historic ties between Nepal and India were discussed. Foreign Secretary Misri called on Nepal's Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli at his office in Singh Darbar. Matters of mutual interest were discussed to further strengthen Nepal-India relations. He also met Foreign Minister of Nepal, Dr. Arzu Rana Dyoba, at her office in Singh Darbar, where views on key lateral issues were exchanged while reaffirming commitment to advancing Nepal-India partnership. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri also met Nepali Congress chairperson Sher Bahadur Dyoba in Budha Nilkantha on Sunday. Misri held delegation-level talks with Foreign Secretary Amrit Bahadur Rai and reviewed the progress in India-Nepal cooperation. They held a comprehensive discussion on initiatives to further strengthen the bilateral ties and other matters of mutual interest. Shweta Singh for DD India, Kathmandu.
Air Canada flight attendants remain on strike, defying a government order to return to work by Sunday afternoon, calling the directive unconstitutional. The strike, first since 1985 in the airline's history, began on Saturday over contract disputes, grounding about 700 daily flights and stranding over 100,000 passengers. The Canadian Union of Public Employees insists that its members will continue striking until a fair deal is negotiated. The Canadian Industrial Relations Board, acting on a government directive, ordered attendants back to work and extended the expired collective agreement until a new deal is reached. The key issue is pay for time spent on the ground between the flights, which attendants want compensated. Air Canada warns that some flight cancellations will continue as schedules normalize. Bolivians are heading to polls to vote in the presidential and congressional elections in the country. Leading the race are the opposition conservative contenders Samuel Doria Medina and business magnate Hogue Tuto Quiroga, a former president. Over 790,000 Bolivians are eligible to vote, choosing between 8 presidential candidates as well as electing 166 members of Bolivia's bicameral legislature. The country's deep economic crisis is top of the mind for voters amidst inflation and fuel shortages. The election comes amid unprecedented political fragmentation, as President Luis Arce has opted not to run for re-election, and a constitutional court ruling in May barred former President Evo Morales from participating. Serbia's President Aleksandar Vučić has vowed a firm response to the ongoing anti-government protests. Clashes erupted in Belgrade and other cities for 5 consecutive nights, with the police deploying tear gas and stun grenades while protesters hurled stones and fireworks. In a press conference, Vučić said that over 130 police officers and 80 civilians were injured during Saturday night's unrest. The series of protests across Serbia sparked by deaths of 16 people when a roof on a renovated railway station in Novi Sad collapsed. A draft agreement to end the fighting between the Democratic Republic of Congo's army and the Rwanda-backed M23 militia has been shared with the government in Kinshasa, and the armed group of Qatari officials said on Sunday. The official involved in the mediation efforts announced that Doha set to host an important round of negotiations soon. The Congolese government and the M23 signed a declaration of principles on the 19th of July in Qatar, aiming to link a peace deal by August 18th. Still to come up on DD India NewsHour, what's expected of Zelenskyy and Trump's meeting, also where the Europeans will be present when we come back with a special guest on the show.
geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Amritpal Singh. Let's take a look at the headlines we are tracking at this hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates 2 major national highway projects in Delhi, highlights efforts to make Delhi a model of growth. Election Commission of India asserts commitment to free and fair polls, rubbishes the charge of fraud in special intensive revision in electoral rolls in Bihar, calls it a misinformation campaign. National Democratic Alliance announces Maharashtra Governor CP Radhakrishnan as its candidate for Vice President elections. European leaders to accompany Zelenskyy in a meeting in the White House say Ukraine's borders must not be changed by force. European leaders from Germany, France, Britain and others will accompany President Volodymyr Zelenskyy to Washington, D.C. for crucial talks with US President Donald Trump. Ahead of the visit, Zelenskyy met EU chief Ursula von der Leyen in Brussels and joined a coalition of the willing video call with the allies. This follows Trump's relaying Putin's proposal to freeze front lines if Kyiv cedes Donetsk and an offer that Zelenskyy had firmly rejected. Rabindra Chauhan brings us more.
European leaders from Germany, France and Britain will accompany Volodymyr Zelenskyy to meet Donald Trump in Washington. Those who will join Zelenskyy for Washington talks include French President Emmanuel Macron, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. On Sunday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy visited Brussels to meet European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. The EU chief stressed that international border cannot be changed by force.
With regards to any territorial questions in Ukraine, our position is clear. International borders cannot be changed by force. These are decisions to be made by Ukraine and Ukraine alone. And these decisions cannot be taken without Ukraine at the table.
While Ukraine's Zelenskyy pushed for final deal through real negotiation, Zelenskyy also insisted on concrete security guarantees for Ukraine.
Since the territorial issue is so important, it should be discussed only by the leaders of Ukraine and Russia at the trilateral Ukraine, United States, Russia. So far, Russia gives no sign that trilateral will happen, and if Russia refuses, then new sanctions must follow.
Also on Sunday, leaders of Britain, France and Germany hosted a video call involving Kyiv's allies in a coalition of the willing.
The objective of this meeting very clearly is as well to be completely clear about the security guarantees we want, the next steps, and how to organize the next meetings with President Putin, Ukraine, US and Europeans.
German government, which confirmed Merz's attendance, said it would emphasize the interest in a swift peace agreement in Ukraine. Following his meeting with Putin in Alaska, Trump told Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy on Friday that Putin had offered to freeze most front lines if Kyiv ceded all of Donetsk, a demand rejected by Zelenskyy. Trump also said he agreed with Putin that a peace deal should be sought without the prior ceasefire that Ukraine and its European allies had demanded. Rabindra Chauhan for DD India.
To talk more about that and understand what could transpire between at the talks where the European leaders and President Zelenskyy and of course President Trump will be present. I'm joined by Ambassador Manjeev Singh Puri, former senior diplomat. He joins us over the video link. Sir, pleasure to have you again on the show. Sir, the EC chief, the European Commission chief, says borders cannot be changed by force. Macron says security guarantees have to be there. Zelenskyy says unless a trilateral is held, nothing will be achieved. Russia is giving no signs of a trilateral. Putin reportedly says or has made these demands during his meeting with President Trump, that if Ukraine cedes parts of Donetsk and Luhansk, then he could look at a ceasefire with the other regions. Donald Trump says, well, ceasefire can wait. A comprehensive peace deal has to be achieved. When all these differing positions are there, what are the leaders going to do in the room tomorrow?
Amritpal, thank you very much. And of course, the million-dollar question, isn't it? But, let's look at what possibly could have transpired in Alaska, not what was the immediate reaction. Obviously, there was some discussion on Ukraine, and Mr. Trump, took a kind of, a realistic kind of position that, look, you aren't going to get these territories back. He, if you recall, right from the beginning, has not been stressing the same European ideas that, you can't do anything about it, they have to roll back, and so on and so forth. Look, these things are fundamental ideas on, the importance of Russia, what it means, and so on and so forth. The Europeans have a different perspective. They feel threatened by Russia. They think that the United States should be strong in supporting them and in pushing back Russia. They have this kind of perspective. Mr. Trump, on the other hand, if you recall, even in that press conference, spoke about business interests and this entire thing that he stressed in that Fox News interview, which he gave soon after President Putin left for Russia, where he said that, look, I have a good relationship with President Putin, and last time this Russia, this hoax on the elections, didn't allow us to take things forward. These are perspectives which individuals have. Now, let me put it to you. The Europeans have managed, in a sense, that at Alaska, there was no give. The ideas may have been exchanged. President Trump may stand convinced, but he knows that he has to convince them. Now that they are not going, all of them are going to go to Washington. They're not just letting President Zelenskyy go and come under a kind of specific pressure. They think that by their presence, they can try and hold the fort of their own position. We'll have to see what happens. Because President Trump also, when he comes under a lot of pressure, he may bluster a lot at the time, but then he, in a sense, does come around. Remember, from his very first days of how he treated President Zelenskyy to now, after the Alaska meeting, saying, my first call will be with him, and he spoke to him for an hour. Perhaps he spoke to him the same thing, that please cede some territory, agree, etc. That's okay. But at least the fact that you have to be on board was acknowledged by him. So this meeting is important, and let's say the Europeans know they are under pressure. They don't have abilities on their own to be able to stand with Ukraine and defend Ukrainian territory or to negotiate with Russia. They need the United States. But at the same time, they also have their own abilities at being able to play with Mr. Trump. Let's see how this pans out. I hope in the end it doesn't become a case that President Trump sort of kind of goes along with them, because my worry for all of that is some kind of a rollback in terms of what we were seeing from the Indian position, that at least there's no hardening of position vis-a-vis Russia, which meant any further secondary sanctions, etc., at the moment seemed off.
So do the Europeans mistrust the American president? Do they feel that he'll just secure his interests or the American interests and barter away the European interests on the table?
Amritpal, let's not use expressions like that, but you hit the nail on the head. Look, they were always apprehensive of the election of President Trump and his relationship with the Russians and what he says publicly about it. Now, the Europeans have bought into this old neocon theory that the Russians have to be not just contained and left there, but diminished. The Dayton theory, the old theory of Kissinger, Nixon, etc., was, Russia is part of the scene, the European scene. You need to leave them there. We've got a deal. Let's live with them. But, things have changed. The neocons have been pretty much successful. In fact, much of this Ukraine situation has resulted as a result of the Americans pursuing those kind of policies. And that's been a fact. So the Russians, the Europeans have two or three things. One, they feel that they are not strong enough to be able to take on a belligerent Russia. Okay. So they feel security wise threatened. They haven't put in the kind of monies and infrastructure, etc., over the last 70 years. If I may use the expression, they did a free ride on this NATO thing. It will take a long time for them to be able to pull into this. Their economies are not doing so very well. So they need the Americans for themselves. They also have their trade relations and other things because these are intertwined economies which result in the Europeans doing well, also the Americans, of course. And so when you look at all these particular things, Ukraine becomes for them a central piece because it's a question of, what they have persuaded themselves that they stand for. Okay. They see a threat from Russia. They don't think they can manage it themselves, but they feel that, there has to be a strong message to the Russians to keep them contained.
Okay. Then the question arises, I know you wouldn't want to go as far as saying that the Europeans mistrust the American president, but okay, let's put that phrase aside if you have a problem with that. But there are, what you're saying is that there are differences of position between the Europeans and and America. Then if, assuming all three sit on the table, or four, Ukraine, United States, Russia, and the European leaders sit on the table, then isn't Putin strengthened by the chinks in the Western camp and he negotiates better for himself?
Well, that would appear to be the usual case. But, if President Trump starts taking his side, then can you imagine what would happen to the Europeans as well as President Zelenskyy? So this is really a question of within the transatlantic alliance. What is their thinking? As a transatlantic alliance, they've been very strong. But in various ways, there is this particular issue that President Trump comes from a different perspective, let's say. At least not from the old standard neocon perspective, which is put Russia down. They are an aggressor and so on and so forth. He thinks it's a country with which you can do opportunity. Listen to what he said to Sean Hannity and so on. It's particularly revealing, continuously talking about the potential of Russia, business possibilities with Russia, etc. And I don't want to go into the history of President Trump and his business deals, etc.
Yes.
But the fact is, the Europeans that we have in power today have been brought up on the theory that Russia is an enemy. Also, let's remember, Russia is on their doorstep. I know that across the Alaska, Russia is on the doorstep of America. That's pretty far away from both Moscow and Washington. The Russians feel the heat, or the Europeans feel the heat, and they therefore are particularly worried. And they've played this for a long time, at least since 2012, 2011 onwards, which in fact resulted in the Russians taking over Crimea, because they felt that the Ukrainians might just go the other way, and the absolutely strategically important area of Crimea might just be lost to them for operational purposes. And the Europeans know this, but their belief is that Russia has to be contained and hugely contained.
Right. Okay. So, let's see what transpires, because stage one happened in that meeting in Alaska. The second will, unfold at the Oval Office. Let's see what transpires tomorrow, and then we'll get better clarity on where things are going. We'll have to leave it there.
Can I just say one thing to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
For all your viewers, I'd suggest if they can see this Fox News interview with Sean Hannity and President Trump, and Steve Witkoff's interview with the CNN. These are the only two cases of some kind of idea. So whether President Trump said that, there's something big, but I won't tell you about it. It's no doubt it's about Ukraine. And he would really like the Europeans, Zelenskyy, etc., to come around and say, hey, let's strike a deal. And what is the deal? The deal has to involve a degree of, giving up territory, agreeing to the ceasefire. President Putin, in that sense, has, you know, as they say, occupation is 9/10 of the law also. So that's the reality of things which has to be looked at. And let's see how these people interact with each other. Tomorrow will be a very important meeting.
Yes, so we'll be closely watching that. Thank you, Ambassador Manjeev Singh Puri, for taking our time and lending us your insights. Thank you. And let's now take a look at other stories making news in the country. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath attended the inauguration ceremony of the Green Hydrogen Production and Blending Facility at Gorakhpur. This project marks a significant step towards promoting clean and sustainable energy. Tripura's Chief Minister Manik Saha attended a blood donation camp organized at the CRPF Development Center in Agartala. During the event, he emphasized the importance of blood donation as a notable act. Rajasthan Chief Minister Bhajan Lal Sharma held a review meeting on the implementation of the budget announcements related to the medical department and other important issues. He directed all the officials to complete the budget announcements on time. Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan addressed the 31st Foundation Day celebrations of the National Council of Teacher Education in New Delhi. He pointed out that National Education Policy 2020 is enhancing the capacity of teachers to realize the vision of Viksit Bharat or Developed India by 2047. Still to come up on DD India NewsHour, Indian athletes finished the World Games in China with a record haul of 3 medals. World number 1 Yannick Sinner and Spanish sensation Carlos Alcaraz to clash in the Cincinnati Open final. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Amritpal Singh. Now updates on the Israel-Gaza conflict. Sunday saw Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying that ending the Gaza war would ensure a repetition of October 7 horrors. He stressed that in order to ensure that Gaza no longer poses a threat to Israel, the country must complete the task of defeating Hamas.
Those who are calling today for an end to the war without Hamas's defeat are not only hardening Hamas's position and delaying the release of our hostages, they are also ensuring that the horrors of October 7 will repeat themselves over and over again, and that our sons and daughters will have to fight over and over again in an endless war.
On the other hand, Hamas has rejected Israel's Gaza relocation plan and believes that it constitutes a new wave of genocide and displacement for thousands of residents in the area. These remarks come amidst Israeli military's planned relocation of Gazans from the combat zones to the south of the enclave to ensure their safety. Meanwhile, Israelis have staged nationwide protests demanding an end to the Gaza war and the release of Israeli hostages held captive by Hamas. Protesters holding banners marched on Tel Aviv highway, blocking the traffic. With the humanitarian crisis unfolding in Gaza, Jordan's army airdropped humanitarian aid aiming to elevate the hunger crisis of the war-torn area. The aid included food and baby milk for Gazans. Chief Justice of India Bhushan Gawai on Sunday inaugurated the Kolhapur Circuit Bench of the Bombay High Court. The ceremony was attended by Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court, Justice Alok Aradhe, Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde, among others. The Kolhapur Circuit Bench is set to become operational on Monday. Officials said the bench would ensure greater efficiency to the justice system while saving time, effort and costs for litigants. From India to its neighborhood and beyond, extreme weather is rewriting headlines. A cloudburst in Jammu and Kashmir, relentless rains in Mumbai, deadly floods sweeping Pakistan and flash floods in China, all unfolding even as Europe battles raging wildfires. DD India's Mahir Maihuri has the details.
Extreme weather events are wreaking havoc across the globe. In India's Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, a cloudburst struck Kathua district just days after the recent Kishtwar disaster. At least 7 people lost their lives, while railway tracks, the national highway, and even the Kathua police station suffered damage. Authorities, along with the army and paramilitary forces, launched swift rescue operations. Further south, relentless rains battered Mumbai and several parts of Maharashtra. Streets were waterlogged, disrupting daily life and causing severe inconvenience. The meteorological department has warned of extremely heavy rainfall for the next 7 days, urging residents to avoid non-essential travel. India's neighborhood too is facing nature's fury. In Pakistan, flash floods have killed at least 344 people. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province has been worst hit, with monsoon-triggered landslides and floods collapsing houses and wiping out entire settlements.
Over
the past few days, especially in Buner, Bajar, Battagram and surrounding areas, we have witnessed damage that unfortunately is part of broader climate change challenge that Pakistan has been grappling with for a long time.
For survivors in flood-ravaged Pakistan, the struggle has just begun. Hundreds displaced are now trying to piece their lives back together, pleading for urgent government support.
This was a natural disaster which came and wiped out our entire village. Some people were taken away, some were saved, and there was a lot of chaos. As far as we have gone, we have just picked up dead bodies and a lot haven't been found. Many are still under the mud.
This water should be diverted to one side by machineries so that it can flow to one side and people can continue their work and rehabilitation efforts on the other. We strongly demand from the government that it deploys whatever machinery it has here so that we can assist in the rehabilitation work.
The crisis does not end there. In northern China, flash floods have killed at least 10 people as the East Asian monsoon continues to unleash chaos. Meanwhile, in Europe, countries like Spain are battling towering wildfires. Firefighters are racing against time, with heat alerts in place and soaring temperatures fueling the risk of more blazes. From Asia to Europe, the chain of disasters is a stark reminder of how climate change is amplifying extreme weather events. Mahir Makhuri for DD India.
You're watching DD India NewsHour. Time now for some sports news. Indian athletes finished the World Games in China with a record haul of 3 medals, including 1 silver and 2 bronze on Sunday. Rishabh Yadav bagged the bronze in individual men's compound archery in Chengdu city. Namrata Batra followed up with a silver medal in the women's Sanda 52 kilogram event, and continuing the trend, Anand Kumar Velkumar clinched a bronze medal in the men's 1000 meter sprint inline speed skating track event. This was India's best show at the tournament in terms of medals won. The previous best was 2 medals and at the 1989 edition in Germany. Stage is all set in Cincinnati for world number 1 Yannick Sinner and Spanish sensation Carlos Alcaraz. The face-off yet again in the final. Alcaraz and Sinner are ready to write another thrilling chapter in their careers. From Wimbledon to Cincinnati, their rivalry is rewriting the script of modern tennis. Take a look at what's in store for the Cincinnati Open 2025 final on Monday.
World number 1 Yannick Sinner will take on Carlos Alcaraz in the Cincinnati Open final after both advanced from their semi-finals in dominating fashion. Sinner overcame France's Terence in straight sets, marking his 26th successive hard-court win and 12th straight victory overall. The opening set went into a tie-break, but the Italian held firm and never looked back. Alcaraz meanwhile battled past Alexander Zverev to book his 7th consecutive tour-level final. It followed a tough quarter-final against Andrei Rublev, where despite errors, the Spaniard held his nerve to prevail in 3 sets. In head-to-head, Alcaraz leads 8-5 on the ATP Tour with a 5-2 edge on hard courts. But Sinner's Wimbledon triumph showed his ability to flip the script. The final marks their 4th consecutive meeting in a tournament final clash. Sinner won their most recent encounter at Wimbledon, beating Alcaraz in 4 sets to capture his first grass court slam. Their rivalry has quickly become the centerpiece of men's tennis. This season alone, Sinner and Alcaraz have faced off in finals on 3 different surfaces, joining iconic rivalries like Nadal-Djokovic and Federer-Nadal in history. Another final, another battle for supremacy. The question remains, who takes Cincinnati? Sports Desk, DD India.
That's it then in this edition of DD India NewsHour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. The app is available both on Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR codes that you see to download. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Amrit Pal Singh. From my entire team here in Delhi, thank you for watching DD India NewsHour. Take care. Bye-bye.